Welcome to a very short episode of Best in Glow. Today I have the battle of two oranges from Kringle. One is the orange, which was requested by JG9622. They asked me to review this one. And Psychedelic orange. This was requested by Mariah. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to compare these two for you and let you know what I think and which one I prefer. My name is Tracy. This is the 3-Wick Thesis candle channel, and if you're new here, these Best in Glow episodes usually have more candles than just two. However, I thought somebody wants me to review each one of these, and they're both orange. I'll just do a quick one. So normally I'd have like 8, 10, 12 candles in orange scent, and it would be across brands and multiple scents with orange in it. But today's is just going to be a short one with the battle of just these two. Now, full disclosure, before we go on, I am now a Kringle ambassador, which means if you use my code 3Wick Thesis, you will get 15% off on full price merchandise and I will make a commission. These were not gifted to me from Kringle. These are both candles that I paid for with my own money during the Labor Day sale. And if you are interested in watching that haul and want to know my first impression of both of these, because I've already sniffed these, I've already burned them. If you want to know my first impressions, I'll link that video below, and I will also pop a card up here in case you want to just click over and see how I felt when I first sniffed both of these. I think that I did 3 different hauls for the Labor Day sale. So these were paid for with my own money. These were not gifted to me from Kringle, and my opinions are my own. Okay, let's get into jars first. We'll do a comparison. This one, very simple. Just a beautiful orange on the front. It looks like it's freshly picked from the tree and it's either just been washed or it's just rained. You can see water droplets on the leaves as well as on the fruit. And then this is just your classic Kringle Reserve jar, which has the black painted glass vessel. These are really tall units. They burn really clean for me. I don't have issues with tunneling. I haven't had issues with sooting. I really like their large 2 wicks. The Reserve candle, my only criticism is that you can't see the flame very well. And I have actually left one burning overnight because I thought it was put out. So that's really my only complaint about these Reserve jars. These are both 22 ounces. And so in terms of like jar style, you're not getting much of a difference. However, the distinction is I think this label is much more fun. So you have slices of orange, and then you've got what looks like someone took a paintbrush and kind of just splashed paint onto it, and then it looks like it's glowing underneath of a black light. So if I were to select which candle I like the best based off of the label, it's definitely going to be this one. And if you watched my whole video, you know that the hubs picked this one because he likes orange, but also he said, I don't care what it smells like. I want this jar. So he plans to repurpose this jar for all of his candle tools, his wick dipper, the rechargeable lighter. We use tweezers to pull out like wick fallout or, anything that's gross like a bug will pull out of there with a tweezer. So he wants to clean this out when we're done and use it for his tools. And because these candles are 100% soy wax, you can easily clean the soy out of here when it's done. It's actually a really soft wax and it cleans up really nice with some Dawn dish soap. So this one wins in terms of label, no question. So let's talk about scent notes on orange. They are orange, mandarin, green, lemon, lemongrass, red fruits, jasmine, tamarind, musk, and amber. So you have some multiple types of citrus. You have some freshness in there with the floral and the green, and then you have some nice base notes of the musk, amber, and tamarind. On cold, this one to me smells very tangy. It feels like a drink powder. My mouth is actually watering right now. The citric acid vibe from this is strong. It feels like it's going to be very sour on warm. To me, I don't get any of the green note. I definitely don't get jasmine. I don't get anything floral in here. And I'm almost craving more of the base note on cold because it's very bright and also very tart for an orange. Now, this one evolves significantly on warm and in a positive way. To me, on warm, this reminds me a lot of Lemon Splash, but in the orange version. You get a hint of every element of an orange. You get the really juiciness that feels like you have bitten into a very sweet, juicy orange. You get some pithiness or like a bitterness edge to this that actually smells like the pith of an orange. And then you also get some zestiness. It's really bright and very tart, almost like the cold scent notes that you're getting. So you get all that plus the juiciness and the pithiness, and it's a beautiful fragrance on warm. I actually like it more than I thought I would based off of how it smells on cold, because I'm not always a fan of like drink powder tangy citrus. But this one warmed beautifully. I'm going to come back to Strength and Throw after I talk about the scent notes of Psychedelic Citrus and how that smells on warm, because that's really where, for me, the deciding point is between these two candles. So Psychedelic Citrus has sparkling orange, lime fizz, grapefruit glow, sweet strawberry, apricot nectar, lush watermelon, sugar crystals, and solar musk. The scent notes on this make me think it's going to be kind of like Lemon Splash, but in the orange version. It also makes me think there's going to be like some sweetness from the apricot and the strawberry, and also some tartness from the citrus that's in here. And on cold, to my nose, I feel like this smells how these scent notes are described. I get red berry, and yes, it does smell like strawberry. It's a little bit muted or watered down, or like macerated strawberries that maybe weren't quite ripe, that kind of vibe. And sometimes watermelon can give that same either overripe or underripe watery fruit vibe. So it could be the way the watermelon is playing with the strawberry in here. I do not get apricot. And the orange is in here, but it does not feel, it's not heavy on the orange. So I think the word sparkling orange, I think that's meant to give you the visuals of a sparkling fruit, not necessarily a sparkling drink. But in my head, it makes me conceptualize like a water with orange flavor in it. And I feel like that's appropriate because the orange in this feels pretty tame to me. It's pretty muted. And I do get a sense of, I think effervescence is the right word, but I can't tell if it's the grapefruit or the lime fizz that I'm getting with that. Because I don't pick up on lime, but I'm definitely getting something that's reading a bit, you know, fuzzy in my nostrils. It feels a bit like really bright and a bit bitter. So this feels very fruit punchy on cold, whereas this one feels very tangy orange. Now on warm, this one does not evolve as much. I definitely get fruit punch vibes from this. Where this one I think is a bit unpleasant to my nose is that grapefruit comes out, and normally I like grapefruit, especially if it's like a ruby red and you get some juicy element to it. But with this one on warm, I feel like I get a lot more of the bitter edge of a grapefruit. I feel like I'm getting more like a pithiness vibe, or like a bitter grapefruit note that kind of takes out the juicy orange in here. So it ends up reading like a fruit punch that's a little bit heavy on grapefruit. I don't mind it. I don't dislike it, but I also don't love it. And then I also feel like it's a little bit sweet with the strawberry and the watermelon in here. And I'm guessing that the apricot is contributing to that, but I don't identify it specifically on warm as an apricot note. So this one's more fruit punch with grapefruit juice, and this one is like you smashed an orange into your face, and that's what you're smelling. Like you get the whole package of the orange with this one. This one's more fruit punch, and to me, grapefruit dominant than it is orange. So in terms of scent, on cold, I might actually like this one a little bit better, but on warm, orange definitely wins the race. And then let's talk about Strength and Throw. Orange is going to win the race in that element. This one I would categorize in my testing space, which if you're new here is a converted single car garage with no window and the door is sealed off, as a medium leaning towards strong. I was actually surprised to find a Kringle that has decent strength and throw because it did fill the room. I didn't have issues with elusiveness. It wasn't a creeper. It didn't come up the stairs, but it did meet the doorway over here, which means it flushed out the full space, and there weren't like weird pockets where it smelled stronger. I didn't feel nose blind to it standing right next to it. I also did test this in my open concept. It did not fill the space at all. It's about a 500 square foot space with what, these are probably 9-foot ceilings. So I don't have like vaulted ceilings or high ceilings or anything, but the space is pretty large. It could not fill it, and most candles can't. However, if you were in the area where it was, you could pick up on it in the open concept area. Now this one, I would say a solid medium strength, much lighter in my opinion than this one. Again, this one's leaning towards strong. This one is medium, and I'm going to say solid medium, but if anything, leaning towards light for me. It did throw fine. I didn't have any issues with elusiveness or going nose blind next to it. However, in my open concept, completely lost. I couldn't even get a sense of this candle in the space where it was burning. So it's possible that the throw or the projection is so good that it kind of just spits it out into the room, and then it just becomes too light. So I would say if you're looking for something more open concept with a chance that you'll be able to smell it, pick up orange. This would also do really well in a living room or a bedroom, something smaller that is self-contained. If you want something a little bit lighter and a little bit more fruit punch, go with the Psychedelic Citrus. The Hubs is happy with both of these. He has no complaints about either one. He's, anything citrus, orange, lemon, grapefruit, lime, he's here for it. If I were to choose, it would be this one. It would be orange. But I think he's right. I love the label on this one, and I'm happy we have it. So I would still rebuy both of these, but if I were to do a repurchase, I would only repurchase this one. Unless the jar breaks, then I'd pick this one up again. So both of these, full price, $34. Again, if you use my discount code 3Wick Thesis, you'll get 15% off. I also recommend, if you're not in a rush to pick either of these up, Kringle does do some awesome sales on the reserve candles. It's usually 3 times a year. I feel like it's Memorial Day, Labor Day, and holidays. And it could be a Black Friday, but it's usually like a post-Christmas, post-holiday sort of sale or clearance they do. So if you can't wait, use my discount code. If you can, these will eventually go on markdown. Let me know if you have any questions below about these two candles. I'd love to share. Thank you to, I gotta look at the screen, JG9622 for the request, as well as Mariah. It's always fun to appease my crowd and let them know that I'm listening to the requests and giving them updates on candles that I've hauled. If you have a request, email me at 3.wick.thesis@gmail.com. You can also follow me over at Instagram. And before you take off, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share this with someone you think might enjoy my content. I'll see you again in my next review. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.